Hello everyone, I hope you are doing well. This video is suitable for B1 English listening level. If you would like to watch videos at a different level, you can leave this video and check the other playlists on our channel. Today, we chose a very interesting and unusual topic for you. We will talk about strange punishment methods from the Middle Ages. These punishments were not always about hurting the body. Many of them were about shame, fear, and public control. We hope this video helps you practice English and learn something new at the same time. Your support is very important for us. If you want more videos like this, please subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell. Now, if you are ready, let's begin our story. Enjoy watching.
Punishing bad musicians in the Middle Ages. In the Middle Ages, music was not only entertainment, it was part of daily life, religious ceremonies, and public events. Because of this, musicians had an important role in society. But this role also came with danger. If a musician played badly, if the music disturbed people, or if the performance was seen as disrespectful, the punishment could be public and cruel. One of the strangest punishments was made only for musicians. This punishment used a special iron flute. The flute was not for playing music. It was a tool for shame. The iron flute was placed around the musician's neck like a collar. It was heavy and cold. Attached to it was a metal frame that forced the musician's hands forward. The fingers were fixed directly onto the holes of the flute. The musician could not move their hands freely. They could not remove the flute. They could not hide. The message was very clear. You are a bad musician. Everyone will see it. After the iron flute was locked in place, the punishment continued in public. The musician was walked slowly through the town square. Sometimes guards were present. Sometimes a crowd followed freely. People stopped their work to watch. Children laughed. Adults pointed and shouted. The musician was not allowed to speak or explain. They had to walk silently. The punishment was not short. In some cases, it lasted for hours. In other cases, it continued for several days. During this time, people threw rotten vegetables, eggs, and dirt. Some played fake instruments to mock the punished person. Others sang badly on purpose to make fun of them. For the crowd, it was entertainment. For the musician, it was humiliation. The goal of this punishment was not physical pain. It was shame. Medieval society believed that public embarrassment could correct behavior. If a musician felt enough shame, they would never play badly again. But the punishment often destroyed more than it fixed. After the punishment ended, the iron flute was removed. But the memory remained. People remembered the face. They remembered the walk through the square. They remembered the laughter. For many musicians, this meant the end of their career. No one wanted to hire a bad musician. No one wanted to invite shame into a wedding or celebration. This punishment did not only affect the musician, it also sent a message to everyone watching. Follow the rules. Do your job well, or you will be next. In the Middle Ages, music was powerful. And for those who failed, silence would have been kinder. The shame mask, when your face became the punishment. In the Middle Ages, not every crime was punished with prison or death. Many punishments were designed to embarrass, not to kill. One of the most disturbing examples was the shame mask. The shame mask was a metal mask placed over a person's head. It was heavy, uncomfortable, and impossible to hide. But the most important part was its shape. The mask was not normal. It was made to show the crime. If a person talked too much, the mask had a long metal tongue. If someone lied, the mask had sharp features or animal shapes. If a person was rude, noisy, or disrespectful, the mask made them look ugly or foolish. The face became a message. This is who you are. Once the mask was locked, the punishment moved to the street. The punished person was forced to stand or walk in public places. Markets, Town squares, busy streets, everyone could see them. The mask made breathing harder. It pressed against the skin. In summer, it became very hot. In winter, it became painfully cold. But again, pain was not the main goal. Shame was. People stopped and stared. They laughed. They pointed. Some followed the person to see how long the punishment would last. Children asked questions. Adults made jokes. The person inside the mask could not cover their face. They could not explain themselves. They could not escape the attention. In many cases, the punishment lasted several hours. Sometimes, it lasted a full day. The mask left marks on the skin. But the social damage was worse. After the punishment, people remembered the mask. They remembered the crime. They remembered the face. In medieval communities, reputation was everything. Once it was damaged, it was almost impossible to fix. The shame mask was especially used for crimes that were seen as social problems. Talking too much, making noise, spreading gossip, being disrespectful in public. The message was simple. You broke social rules. Now society will watch you suffer. Today, these punishments feel cruel and unnecessary. But in the Middle Ages, they were seen as useful. Public shame controlled behavior. Fear kept order. The shame mask did not just punish one person. It warned everyone else. In a world without social media, the town square was enough. In the Middle Ages, punishment was not only about pain. Very often, it was about shame. People believed that shame could control behavior better than prison. That is why many punishments happened in public places, like town squares, markets, or churchyards. Everyone could see the punished person. Everyone could laugh, shout, or throw things. The goal was simple, to make the person feel small and afraid to make the same mistake again. One very common punishment was placing a person in a wooden or iron device in the middle of the town. The person could not move freely. Their body was held in an uncomfortable position. Sometimes the hands and head were locked. Sometimes the feet were locked too. The person had to stand there for hours or even days. People passed by slowly. Some people stopped to look. Others came closer to insult the person. Children were often the most active. They laughed loudly. They pointed with their fingers. They threw eggs, rotten vegetables, mud, or small stones. Adults also joined. Some shouted bad words. Some made jokes. For the crowd, it was entertainment. For the punished person, it was a long and humiliating experience. Many people punished this way were not dangerous criminals. Some were accused of lying. Some were accused of stealing small things. Others were punished for bad behavior, breaking social rules, or being annoying to the community. In many cases, the punishment was more about teaching a lesson than about justice. The most painful part was not physical pain. It was the feeling of being watched. The punished person could see familiar faces, neighbors, shop owners, even friends or family members. There was no place to hide, no way to look away. Shame stayed with the person long after the punishment ended. Sometimes special objects were added to increase humiliation. A sign could be hung around the neck. The sign showed the person's crime in simple words. Everyone could read it. Even people who could not read knew what it meant because someone always read it out loud. This made the shame stronger. In some towns, the punishment became a kind of show. People planned their day around it. Sellers came to the square. Children waited for the moment. The punished person became part of daily life, like a market stand or a fountain. This shows how normal public punishment was in medieval society. After the punishment, life rarely returned to normal. People remembered. The punished person became known for the crime, not for who they were before. Trust was lost. Respect was gone. Even if the punishment ended, the social damage stayed. This system shows us something important about medieval life. Community opinion mattered more than personal feelings. Fear of public shame was a strong control tool. People followed rules not only because of laws, but because they were afraid of being laughed at, pointed at, and remembered. Today, this kind of punishment feels cruel and unfair. Modern justice systems focus more on privacy and human rights. But in the Middle Ages, public shame was seen as useful, effective, and even necessary. It reminded everyone what would happen if they stepped outside accepted behavior. When we look at these punishments now, we are not only learning about cruelty, we are learning about values, fear, and power in medieval society. Public punishment was not random. It was carefully designed to control people through embarrassment and memory. In the Middle Ages, punishment was not always about pain. Very often, it was about shame. One of the most humiliating punishments was forcing a person to ride a donkey backwards. The punished person was placed on a donkey facing the animal's tail, not its head. This position was chosen on purpose. It made the person look ridiculous and weak in front of everyone. The donkey was then slowly led through the village or town square. People followed, laughed, shouted insults, and sometimes threw rotten vegetables or mud. Children were allowed to mock the person freely. There was no silence, no dignity, and no escape. Around the person's neck, there was often a wooden sign. This sign explained the crime. It could say that the person was a liar, a gossip, an unfaithful spouse, or someone who disturbed social order. The goal was clear. Everyone had to see. Everyone had to remember. This punishment was especially common in small communities. In such places, reputation was everything. After being seen riding a donkey backwards, a person could never fully recover their honor. Even after the punishment ended, the shame continued. People remembered the image. They whispered. They laughed again when they saw the person days or weeks later. For medieval society, this was more powerful than physical pain. The body healed, but humiliation stayed. This punishment showed how fear and public judgment were used to control behavior, not with blood, but with embarrassment. In the Middle Ages, some punishments were so extreme that even people at that time found them shocking. These punishments were not used often. That is exactly why they were effective. People talked about them for years. Fear lived longer than the punishment itself. One of the most unbelievable punishments involved forcing a person to live inside a cage for days or even weeks. The cage was small and made of iron or wood. It was hung from a tower, a bridge, or placed high above the ground. The person inside could not lie down comfortably. They slept sitting or standing. Everyone below could see them day and night. Food was given rarely. Water was limited. The person slowly became weak, but the main suffering was mental. Birds landed on the cage. Rain fell freely. Cold nights passed without protection. The punished person became part of the city view, like a building or a bell. Another extreme punishment focused on silence. Some people were forced to wear devices that prevented them from speaking for long periods. The mouth was held shut by iron or leather. The person could not talk, argue, or explain. In a society where reputation mattered, silence was dangerous. Lies could spread, and the punished person could not defend themselves. There were also punishments that attacked time itself. People were forced to repeat useless actions again and again, walking in circles, carrying an object from one place to another and back, doing the same thing for hours while being watched. The goal was to break the mind, not the body. Time moved slowly. Shame grew with every step. One of the most disturbing punishments used animals in symbolic ways. People were tied near animals, not to hurt them, but to humiliate them. Being placed near pigs, goats, or chickens showed that the person was seen as less than human. Crowds laughed. Children made jokes. The image stayed in memory. Some punishments combined fear, height, and public control. People were placed on platforms high above the ground, tied safely but visibly. Looking down made them dizzy. Looking forward showed the crowd Screaming was useless. The height reminded them how small they were. What makes these punishments extreme is not blood or violence. It is how carefully they were designed. Every detail had a purpose. The location, the object, the crowd, the time. Shame was planned. These punishments tell us something important. Medieval justice was not only about rules, it was about power, about showing who controlled the body, the voice, and the image of a person. The punished individual became a warning. Today, these punishments feel unreal, hard to believe, but they were real. They shaped behavior, they controlled communities, and they remind us how far ideas of justice have changed.
Congratulations! You did a great job today. You listened to a difficult topic in English, and you stayed focused until the end. That is not easy, and you should be proud of yourself. These stories from the past may feel dark, but they carry an important message. They show us how powerful fear and shame once were. People were controlled not only by force, but by being watched, judged, and remembered. Today, the world is different. We have more rights. We have more voice. We can speak, choose, and change our lives. But the past reminds us why these freedoms matter. They were not always there. When we learn about old punishments, we are not learning to judge the past. We are learning to understand the present. We see how far humanity has come and how important kindness and fairness are. Remember this: progress is not automatic. It is built by people who choose empathy over cruelty and understanding over fear. Every generation carries this responsibility. Thank you for learning with us today. See you in the next video.